What's up, everybody? Here to tell you about our sponsor, Barossa Transport. Barossa Transport offers comprehensive services for all your transportation and property needs, including vehicle transport, heavy equipment hauling, property cleanup, materials delivery, all that stuff. Their dedicated team is there to serve you. Aggregate delivery, bulk water delivery, roll-off dumpster rental, scrap metal recycling, trailer and vehicle transportation services. If you need things done, Barossa Transport are the people that you need to call. So give them a call today, 707-358-2859. Tell them the guys from Like It or Not sent you, and you'll get a free quote for your project. Their dedicated team ensures reliable and efficient services, providing custom solutions tailored to your specific project requirements. Don't delay. Call them today, 707-358-2859 for a free quote. And this episode of the podcast is sponsored by Thompson Construction. Thompson Construction is an excavating and grading general engineering contractor based out of Ukiah, California. They specialize in septic system installation and repairs, land site development for residential and commercial and agricultural, pond construction and lining, retaining wall construction, hillside grading, all of those things. And at Thompson Construction, they love what they do and they take the utmost pride in their work. Customer satisfaction is a big deal to these guys. They pay attention to every single detail, big or small. And no job is too big or too small for these guys. So give them a call today, 707-391-7679. That's Thompson Construction. Ladies and gents, if you have not checked out Thirsty Axe yet, this is your sign from Jesus Cristo to do so. Go to thirstyaxe.com and check out all of their upcoming events. But staples there at the Thirsty Axe are the ever popular Wednesday night karaoke night and Thursday night trivia night. Every single week, those things are going on there, as well as live music, live DJs every weekend, pool tables, axe throwing, of course, and you can get a big old fatty grilled cheese sandwich there with your favorite drink. It's a great place to hang out, great place to take friends. Check them out, thirstyaxe.com, for all their upcoming events. It's summertime. We're in full swing, ladies and gentlemen, and that means that you need to get your ride detailed. Well, we have the perfect person to get your ride detailed with. That's Cali Mobile Detailing. Dude, this dude came and hooked my shit up.
A little scrub-a-dub-dub.
Sparkly, new, ready to go
next.
Off the showroom floor, dog.
I'm next, dude.
I know, you jealous.
You better bring the pet hair remover.
That's right. He does it all. Provides a professional service, including interior carpet and seat extraction, steam cleaning the tight spots, and applying a professional grade leather vinyl plastic conditioner. That's for Drew for his interior. For the exterior, you get a thorough hand wash, wheel cleaning, tar removal, most importantly, a clay bar treatment, which removes all the contaminants embedded in your clear coat. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, they also do headlight restoration. So all you folks out there with those nasty yellow headlights.
I've been rubbing Coke on mine, Coca-Cola.
That's not improved. That doesn't help the situation. You should call Nick. Give him a call today, 707-510-7373. If you mention you heard about this ad on the Like It or Not podcast, you will receive $50 off the Works package on your next detail. So do not delay. Give them a call today, 707-510-7373. You can hit them up also on Instagram at Cali_mobile_detailing and DM him there to book. And last but definitely not least, the OGs of the podcast supporting system, DC Customs. Dude, if you guys aren't following these guys on Instagram, you should, because they've been posting their projects and they are so dope. I need to get my rig in there and get it lifted and twisted. And if you need to do so too, DC Customs is the place for you. They have a knowledgeable, friendly staff that knows everything about trucks, cars, RVs, boats, anything you want to trick out or make just a tiny bit cooler. These guys are the guys. 707-463-2227 to get your project started at DC Customs, or you can visit them at dccustoms.net to see their full variety of what they do. and they do it well, folks. So give them a call, 707-463-2227. Support the people who support the show, and that is DC Customs. My name is Carter Lane.
I'm Drew Nickel.
Welcome to the show. Oh my God. I think you have a problem, bro.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Is that a dog?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, did you just bark? Dude?
I always have to cough right when you hit the intro. I don't know what it's like triggered me to cough.
What's up with that?
I'm like Pavlov's dog or whatever.
Yeah, you get salivating as soon as you hear the intro.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something like all of a sudden I gotta clear my throat.
Do you think those dogs were like tortured in that?
I don't know. I don't really know what they are. I just know like you press a button and they get hungry or something like that.
They salivate.
They salivate, right?
When they hear a bell.
Yeah. No, I don't think they were tortured. I think they're just like anybody else. You know what I mean?
What do you mean like anybody
When
else?
you see the waitress coming,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, my food.
You hit the Rayleigh's parking
Yeah,
lot
but
and
they
you
had
smell
a
grilled
test.
onions and all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
In and out,
Oh,
in and
once
out.
I'm in and out.
But they had to test these dogs like over and over and like, you know,
Yeah, I don't know.
test this theory, right?
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to know if they were tortured, but
Dude,
did
how
you read
about
Fauci when he tortured dogs and he like
no?
let the fleas just bite him on the face over and over again?
That sounds terrible.
Terrible person. Anyways,
We could have gone an hour and a half and had you not talk about
talk
that.
all day. I'll say that, bro. Yeah. Anyways, while I'm thinking about it, we got a phone number. We got to get people to call. Put that up because it takes me way too long to memorize a number.
I don't know any numbers these days.
Really, I just learned my wife's 3 years after being married.
That's good.
After many awkward moments at the grocery store when they were like, "Can you go ahead and punch in the number?" And I was all,
You're all, can you do it? My finger hurts.
"It's 367." So listen, if you want to be a guest on the show or you want to recommend somebody to be on the show, you can call us 707-234-8926. If you want to call and tell us how wonderful we are or how bad Carter's breath smells, you can also call us at 707-234-8926. They can smell it through YouTube, dude. It's like a new feature they got.
You're sitting
now.
next to me today, dude. How is it?
That's fresh. I'm just kidding. You're good. And then, our good buddy Josh wanted me to shout out before I forget. They're gonna have a reggae river on the river booth at Sunday in the Park next to the stage. If you want to get some information on reggae on the river, so
Oh, right on.
there you go. There's a lot of free advertising you got, so you're welcome.
And that'll be on August 13th.
Reggae on the river will be
The next Sunday in the Park.
when?
July 13th.
Yeah, I'm a
Sorry.
what fool? You gotta,
Yeah, July 13th.
So July 13th. Yeah, go check them out. Reggae on the River booth will be at Sundays in the Park, sharing the City Ukiah booth next to the stage.
Awesome. Cool.
Enough of that.
Enough of that. We have some lovely guests with us today. My good friend Ashley and my good friend Brooke.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Welcome to your very first podcast ever.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Now's when you talk.
What's my name?
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you're
Thanks
here.
for having us.
Thank you for
Yeah,
making
it's kinda
time to come over.
nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It is a little bit nerve-wracking
You said
at
for the
first.
first 15 minutes, right? And then we're good.
Yeah. I've
Two
never
or
met you
three.
guys before other than when I just came down from my nap. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I wanted to make sure I was rested up and ready
Yeah,
to
you're getting a
podcast.
really good version of him right now. Typically, it's not like this.
Usually I haven't napped.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Apparently I'm like a
I
3-year-old.
really like you right now. This is awesome.
I'm feeling happy.
You should nap more often,
I
dude.
really should. I
yeah,
think that's a thing.
It's a key to life, I think.
You guys ever take naps?
I do, and I wake up really tired.
How long are your naps usually you take?
I don't know, probably like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I think. I have
That's
this.
like the best nap.
Yeah, I have
20
this
minutes.
theory with naps that doesn't matter like how long, as long as you just actually fall asleep. It could be 30 seconds, but as long as you actually fall asleep, then you get some rejuvenation from it. So
Nope. Hard disagree right here.
really,
Yeah, dude. I feel like I am more frustrated if I don't get a longer nap.
how long of a nap you like to take?
Hour.
An hour nap? Oh, that's
1
like a
hour
good
nap.
night's sleep for me, bro.
Hey, sometimes I do too.
Oh, dude. That's grandpa nap right there.
Yeah, dude. But then I wake up totally refreshed and ready to go somewhere.
Yeah, totally.
The longer I nap, the harder it is. If I take 20 minutes, that's a lot easier. And if I
To
take,
wake
like,
up and get going again?
Yeah, if it's an hour, I'm just groggy.
See, I could take a nap like him in an hour and then come right down here ready to rock.
Yeah, I feel good. I think it was about 30 minutes. So
Well, congratulations on your nap, dude. That's,
Okay, thanks,
that's
guys.
really good self-care. I'm proud of you.
I'm getting better at it. You know.
Yeah, good job. So Ashley has some really cool stuff that she's been working on for how long?
Well, it's kind of a life dream.
Okay.
Whoa, that sounds like a big deal.
It's been a big deal. Yeah.
So
Okay.
tell us what your life dream is in a nutshell, and then tell us why there's a need for it.
So we're going to open up a reentry center.
What's a
Maybe-
reentry center?
It's for people who are getting out of jails, prisons, and rehab so they can re-enter the community and integrate back into society so they can be successful.
Oh,
That is. Did you think it was something else?
yeah. I was thinking I was envisioning letting birds go after healing their wings. So I guess something similar. You know
That's
what I mean?
really cool. Yeah, that's a good metaphor.
I was just thinking that. Good metaphor.
Yeah. So okay. So what's it called? Do you have a name for it?
Yeah, revival reentry.
Cool.
Revival reentry.
You want to hear our
like it.
purpose statement?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll provide a judgment-free zone to house, employ, and empower the justice-involved population. We'll provide them with compassionate integration back into society while being aware of their past and present barriers.
Wow.
A justice involved what? Person?
Yeah.
Like a criminal?
Ex-convict.
Ex-con.
Yeah.
But that's what you want to call them to make them feel better,
Kind of.
right?
But-
Tell me about that.
Okay, let me tell you a little bit. So the percentage of people who are actually in jails and prisons for big crimes like rape and murder, stuff like that, is very low. It's probably like 10 to 15%. So there's a lot of people who just get wrapped up in the justice system and they get out and they don't really have a way to get back into the community. So they can get out, they don't have a place to live, they don't have clothes on their back, they don't have an ID, social security card, all the things they need.
Transportation, anything, right?
Yeah. And so then they're stuck in the system. And people are more likely to commit crimes when they don't have those things, because now it's not, oh, I want to be a good member of society. It's, I need to survive.
Yeah.
And when they're in survival mode, they're going to do what it takes to eat, to get a roof over their head, to get clothes on their back, to get warm.
So how are you going to solve these? This is pretty interesting. So how are you going to start to solve those problems for people?
Well, we're just a couple people right now, so we're going to start out as
These two, these
well,
couple.
we have a board.
You guys are a cute couple.
We have a board of 6 people right now.
Okay.
So our plan is to start small with a sober living environment in a house. And we want to open up a thrift store as well. So when they get out, they have a place to stay and they have a place to work. So we also want to be ECM providers, enhanced care management. So we can do case management, stuff like that. We can get them to, take care of their societal needs. They're going to go get their IDs, all the things they need, EBT card. We really want to help with financial literacy as well, to help clear up the wreckage of their past. Maybe they'll owe restitution and stuff, but a big point of what we're trying to do is get them, like you said, to be free, right? To be able to go out on their own. So by teaching them these skills, financial literacy, saving money, having a bank account, being employable, being responsible, all of those things, then when they're done with the program, they have money saved, they have good credit, maybe they can get a car, maybe they can get into a trade or something like that.
They have a little bit of job history, right? Because they're
Yeah.
going to work while they're there.
Exactly.
So I have a question before we get more into like what it is you're going to do. Why is this your life's dream?
Well,
Like when you were like
okay.
4 years old, you're like, I want to grow up and open
So
Reentry
a
center.
reentry center.
So I grew up in juvenile hall, and I grew up around a lot of addicts, and I knew that I wanted to do something and I wanted to help. It's the only thing that made me feel like I had purpose. So I got clean at 21 years old. I started down that lifestyle when I was 12. It was in my house. It was around me often. So I got clean at 21 and I started taking meetings into juvenile hall. And when I started doing that, that's when I really was like, oh my gosh, all this stuff happened to me for a reason.
So when you say taking meetings, you're talking about doing like AA classes in juvenile hall for younger people.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I really felt like I had a purpose. All the stuff I went through was for a reason. So I really wanted to start working in juvenile hall and helping the teenagers. So I knew that I had more to prove than the average person. So I started taking classes at Mendocino College for administration of justice. And then I interned in probation at that time. And then I started realizing I might want to help the adult population. And then,
Why? What was the switch? What made the switch for you?
So with the juveniles, to me, it was really hard, especially because I was a juvenile. And a lot of the people who end up in juvenile hall have to keep going home to their homes where it's not supportive. And
Right.
so I know a lot of people poured their time and effort and energy into these kids. And I'm not saying
right back to the same environment that they came from.
And so maybe they planted the seeds and people got better later on, but you don't really see much of what you're pouring into these kids until maybe 10 years down the road, you know? And with adults, they have more free will than teenagers. They're kind of stuck in their environment and they don't make choices for themselves usually. And that was my story.
So then have you worked with adults now
I have.
in probation or?
In the jail, but I did go to Sonoma State for my bachelor's in criminology and criminal justice. And I really got to look at like the needs and why criminals commit crimes. And so that was just amazing to me. And it opened my eyes up to like, what's going on? Why are they doing this? How can we fix this?
Explain to me about that. I'm genuinely interested. Why do obviously there's a whole plethora of reasons, but why do criminals commit crimes?
Okay, you're bringing this up right now, huh?
Let's go.
So I was in school a lot of years ago. So let me try to think of a couple. So it's a bunch of different theories, right? So one of them is, I think it's the American dream theory. I don't remember exactly what it was called. And so people who aren't going to be able to get the American dream, right? It's not just handed to them. They weren't born with that. They're not going to have everything handed to them. They're going to find a way to get it. And they got to do what it takes to get there, right? So they're more likely to steal, sell drugs, do what they got to do because they want a house too. They want the shoes, they want the family, they want the things. And so they're more likely to commit crimes to be able to get what everybody else has if they just aren't handed that. So that was one of them.
Doesn't that, and in those situations, it seems like they're like the teens that you're describing. Right? They're coming from these broken homes or bad situations at home and they're not seeing anything different.
And it's a lot
Does
of the
that make sense?
minorities in the inner cities, stuff like that.
Because of the poverty and because of the broken homes and things like that.
You think most kids end up though in juvenile hall because their parents are abusive or alcoholics or on drugs or what'd you call them, judicially challenged or whatever? You know, what is it? I'm trying to be political. What is it?
Judicially challenged.
Justice involved.
Justice involved.
Involved.
Oh, I'm going to use that one. I like that.
Yeah.
Next time I get a speeding ticket, my wife's pissed. I'll be like, hey, I'm just justice involved, bitch. She's like, yeah, you've been justicely involved like 6 times in the last 2 months.
And how many of those have you paid?
Well, let's talk. We're talking about the kids at juvenile hall right now, not me.
Cool.
But do you think that is, or do you think some kids are just shitheads and they have good parents and they end up, in there as well?
It was a small number.
Of what? Shitheads?
Of shitheads.
Yeah.
When I was in there, it was mostly a lot of kids who lived rough.
Yeah.
And who had to go back home to rough places. And a lot in our community are a lot of kids on reservations and
Right.
yeah,
So you transitioned into wanting to help adults.
yeah.
And kind of learning why justicially involved people commit crimes. How many are you doing this because you find a lot of these people end up becoming like homeless or just back in jail, or like what's the percentage of people who get arrested for doing something and then come out of jail and get their stuff together and actually, are like, oh, I'm glad I went to jail. Learned I didn't want to go there anymore, and now I'm going to go work at Subway or, work,
So our
work at the gym.
recidivism rates here in Mendocino County is about 79% of the people who get out go back.
Whoa. It's that high?
That's a lot.
80%?
And so the other places that I base this program off of, like Homeboy Industries, is 30%. And that's down in LA with gang members, face tattoos, all of that. 30% of people who graduate their program go back. And then
So
other
they have a
side
70%
academy,
success rate with a program similar to what you're creating.
yeah.
So then, but if your math's right, you could keep 50% of the people, right, from going back, right? I mean,
Hopefully.
ideally, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you think about a line drawn in the middle of the room and everybody's standing on the line, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, where's your starting point? When you get out of jail, prison, wherever, do you have a house? Do you have clothes? Do you have an ID? Do you have any money? Do you have work shoes? Do you have work experience? Do you have any kind of physical ailments? Can you get to the doctor? Do you have a ride? So all the people on that line who don't have those things are going to take steps back. And when they take step back, they're closer to incarceration. All the people who have those things are closer to societal freedom, right? And so where is going to be their starting point when they get out? And so our program is going to start them steps ahead than other people. So they're more close to societal freedom than they would be because, like I said, it goes back to instead of I want to do good for our community, it's more like I got to survive. I need to get this, this, and this. I need to eat and I need clothes on my body. And where is that going to lead them?
And those are the priorities above anything else.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
So how does somebody that gets out of jail get involved with what you're putting together? Like, how do you pick who gets the services? Because obviously there's probably more people that need it than you have the ability to help, or at least starting out.
For sure, we're gonna have certain questions to ask them. We really want people who want to work, who want to get back involved with the community.
You're gonna look at their record, like what they did while they were in jail.
Well, there are going to be certain crimes that we're not going to allow in our program. Certain arson crimes we're not going to be able to allow in our program, insurance reasons, and sexual offenders as well. But I think the arson, we can kind of like look at exactly what they did. Were they like a homeless person who was trying to stay warm in a garbage can, or were they really trying to start huge fires?
Wow, yeah, that's a lot. So I have so many questions. It's kind of an interesting topic, but all right. So you're gonna help people. Like, what's the number one thing people need when they get out of jail? Like, I would imagine a place to live or go to, or do a lot of
A
people
ride from jail.
not
The
just
moment
walk,
that they
not-
step
not-
out, right? Like transportation
Yeah.
is a huge thing, and a place to live.
Place to
probably.
live.
You need
food.
you need a Waymo vehicle.
A
Waymo?
what?
Yeah, have you
A
seen those?
Waymo.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
those
yeah.
ones with no people in it driving?
Yeah. So you could probably get one donated.
Yeah, dude, you should get a grant for a Waymo. You'd be the first person in Ukiah to have one, I think.
Yeah. Let's do it. Send them this.
Okay, first problem solved. What's next?
But yeah, I feel like just making sure they have those initial things, and then they can work on going to their probation appointments and doing the classes that they need to do, because that stuff is just on the back burner before survival. Can I tell you a story?
Please.
Okay, so there was a guy that I was helping in the jail, and he got out of prison, been in there for a couple years, got out of prison, and he was told that he needed to get a job within, 2-3 weeks, something like that. So he went around and tried to get a job at all these different places. And he really thought he was going to get a job on this one. And then he handed them his prison ID, which is all he had. He had no money. He was able to sleep on a couch somewhere, so he was already a step ahead because he could shower and wear clean clothes. So he had that going for him. The person, they didn't hire him. He couldn't just have a prison ID. So he finally found a place flipping burgers pretty far out. He finally got his first check, but could he cash it? No, he couldn't cash it with a prison ID. So he went and drank alcohol in a park in front of a cop, walked over to the cop and did it in front of him so that the cop would arrest him take them to jail because they'll cash a check that they have on them as their person, and then they'll put it on a card. So when they get out, they have a card. So if he gets out with a card and money, he can buy an ID so that he can go work.
Dude,
Fuck. What kind of backwards shit is that, dude?
This is the kind of games they play out there, right? Like you're saying, survival first,
Yeah.
whatever it takes. That's fucking smart, dude.
Yeah, or
Like I think about how I used to think as an addict. You know what I mean? Like you get creative like that, right?
Yeah.
But like,
or maybe you
damn.
should not kick people out of jail without giving them an ID.
Yeah.
Seems
So
like-
Yeah, what kind of that's one of
You know
my
what I mean?
questions.
Seems like you could have the, county jail or the state facility that they're
So-
in issue them an ID that wasn't a prison ID. Like that
Prisons
seems like
do more
sabotage to
than
begin
that.
with. Good
Yeah.
luck. Hey, huh?
prisons help with a lot
See you
more
in 10
about
minutes.
discharge planning kind of stuff than here. So
Yeah.
I was a discharge planner in this jail, and we were trying to get a hold of DMV. We really wanted to get them to come into the jail and help people get their IDs. So I was in communication with them a lot about that, but they had a lot of people that were waiting because they were trying to do that in other jails.
But why couldn't he just take his prison ID and go down to DMV and get an ID?
that's not how it works.
What do you mean?
Well, you got to have money
you
to
gotta
do
have-
that too.
Oh yeah, you got to have money. You got to
How
have a
much?
piece of mail. You got to have a birth certificate,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Now you have to have all kinds of stuff for a real ID.
Oh, that's
That's
yeah,
a
real
real
ID.
ID.
Huh?
Oh.
That's so they can track you. Don't even get me started on that.
So what? My question was, what is the jail currently doing? Our current jail, to set people up for success as they're leaving. Is
So
that
I'm
what
not-
you said?
I'm not in there right now. I was a discharge planner in there, and so
that's what
she's doing a
people
lot
do?
of the stuff that I did, but it's more medical discharge planning, as far as I know. I'm not in there
Yeah.
anymore, so I don't really know
Yeah,
what's
your best
going on.
guess.
But I think she helps them get into rehabs and stuff like that. Make sure that they have medications on their property, so if they're mental health, they're able to take their meds when they get out. Inmate Services is doing some really great things. They are teaching classes. As far as I know, they were doing college classes with the garden guy, and he was teaching them that kind of stuff. So they're actually, as far as I know, I don't really know what's going on anymore. They have the Indigenous Wellness Alliance. They're helping a lot of the Native American population, but anybody else can go there as well. And they come in there and they help people as they're reentering while they're inside, and then they come out of there and they go to their program. Their program offers therapy, care management services. Kind of like I was saying, they help them go get their needs and stuff. They connect them with jobs. They connect them with housing, but we want to be able to offer housing and offer a job.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, that makes sense.
you're starting a re-entry facility. Did I say that right? Is that what do you call it?
A center, a reentry
A
center.
re-entry center. So where are you at in that process? Like, is this an idea? Are you open for business and taking people in, or
In the
tell me
middle of
about
both
that?
of those. It's in the middle of both of those. So we got our 501c3.
So you're a nonprofit.
We're a nonprofit. We're working on a fundraising thing right now. We're doing the planning.
So you need money to get
We
this
need
going.
money. That's what we need.
Yeah.
So you guys know Nevaeh Travis?
Yeah.
Amazing singer. She's going to perform for us because she wants to help with this so
Okay,
much.
cool.
Amazing.
She's going to perform
You should
for
put
free.
her on your board.
She's great.
That's a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a young person's perspective on it all would be great too.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not young enough.
A young
How young are you?
jeez,
Just
dude.
saying, you said young person's perspective. Sure.
It's so subjective.
I don't know, dude. I don't got any more questions.
Yeah, Carter.
So-
what are you trying to say,
Get
dude?
out of here, dude. You're older than me. So what? Do you have a date for your fundraiser?
Not yet.
Okay.
But if anybody wants to donate any items for a raffle,
Okay.
that would be amazing.
So how much money do you need? What are we raising? What are we going for here? We talking $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, $250, $300?
I mean, as much as we can get.
What do you need to open the doors, though?
We're thinking maybe 15 grand.
15 grand?
That seems totally doable.
Yeah.
We could just sell some shit on eBay and we get 15 grand.
So we're definitely
You know
going
what I
to need to
Look
do
around this
more.
room.
Yeah.
You can sell whatever. Hey, those bottles of
You
booze over
you
there.
could have that electric drum set.
So once we're open, we can get more money. It's just
Yeah.
getting it open. So we're going to be providers through Medi-Cal. We have a biller who can get us into billing pretty quickly, having the store. So we found out that Department of Rehab and Career Point are going to be able to pay some of the wages for the people. So the store isn't going to have to pay their wages. All the money that comes into the store can go back into the program. So
Wow,
we
that's
have
cool.
ways of funding, but most grants, they want to see the doors open. They want to see all that stuff happening already.
Okay, so you have to raise the money to open the doors. Once you do that, the opportunities will open for you to be able to apply for grants to sustain the program.
Exactly.
So is it going to be like a center? Is people going to be sleeping there? Like, is this like a halfway house type of thing?
So we want to get a house first, and then we want to get the store.
Got it.
Kind of at the same time, actually. So we want to
What if
start
the house had a store?
small.
What if you found a place that had like apartments up above and like a storefront below?
I mean, let's do it. Where's it at?
Well, this is a real estate agent you're talking
Yeah,
to
could
right
definitely
here.
do that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What's your last name?
Nickel.
Does your dad help you?
No, but my
Morally, I guess.
get
Like
me out of jail.
he raised you, right? That's what he did.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, but no, I mean, I could definitely help you with that kind of stuff, depending on.
awesome.
That's why I'm asking, like, what are the, then my logical like mind is just like, okay, well, what are the pieces you need? Money, okay, then what, right? Because you got to have a place to go where people will be okay with what you're doing, right? Because that's a part of it too,
Yeah.
right?
You know what would be a cool idea is we were just talking with the deputy city planner, Shannon Riley. She was our last guest. Maybe. And
Allegedly.
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. But you were talking about turning those office space buildings into like apartments.
Yeah.
You know, and that would be a really cool idea.
I mean, anywhere. I just think office space in general isn't really like we were talking on the podcast about how we're kind of going through a change in society, especially after COVID, where people don't use offices like they used to. You have a generational change where a lot of people don't even want to go into an office anymore, not necessarily to work, but in general. Because I'm a real estate agent, and I just noticed a shift from where people would come into my office, and we'd have meetings, and they'd sign papers, to doing it on Zoom and DocuSign, right? So you just literally didn't need the office anymore.
And a lot more people are working from a home office too.
That's what I mean, right? It's just shifted, and so you have a lot of office space and buildings that are no longer, they're vacant because people aren't using offices. So what are we going to do with all of these office buildings that most likely will never have people wanting to use them as an office again, right? So they have to be repurposed. But there is a lot of cool stuff in Ukiah where you could find some kind of living situation in the back and a storefront up front.
That
You know
would
what I
be
mean?
ideal.
You gotta work on it, because there are certain things like with fire protection and blah blah blah, right? Because it's California, but it's doable. You know what I mean? It really is, and I mean, there's all kinds of places where you could probably find on the south end of town to get started, and where it'll kind of be an easy thing.
And so do you know rental properties, or you just know?
I mean, I mostly do sales, but I could help you find a place. We'd have to figure out the money, right? Figure out, how long of a lease you want. And we can talk about all that boring stuff off the podcast, but I could definitely help you with that. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And get the right steps. So you provide housing, and then you have that money coming in, and then do you teach people skills at this place, or you just get them a job? Like, it seems like.
So we need 15,000 for the house, and then 15,000 for the store. So it's going to be, but the skills that we want to teach are, the savings bank was really interested in teaching financial literacy. There's going to be a therapist who wants to help family reunification. So there's going to be groups for people who are, getting out, and they're like, oh, my probation officer is down my back, and I'm trying to deal with this, and he wants me to do all this stuff. And then I have people in the community, they're not, respecting me. A lot of people who are getting out, they have that whole respect thing. So being able to sit in a group, and everybody's talking about that. So we're going to do some stuff like that. And if people do need to do anger management or something, maybe we can offer something like that.
So you're going to have a staff on hand?
Yes, but not at first, because we're broke. So once we get the doors open for the first our biller said she can get us into Medi-Cal and being billers within like 6 to 9 months. So we have to get the doors open, and then we're kind of just trying to hurry up and get into billing, but we need the house first. And then once we're billers, then we can have the case managers and have the staff and do all of that stuff.
So do you have to wait for Medi-Cal before you start putting people in the beds?
It depends. So if we have enough money at first, and then we have MOUs from maybe probation, the county, Pinoleville said they might be able to pay for certain beds. They might be able to pay for some of the beds until Medi-Cal is up and running.
What about just putting them like in a hotel?
Ugh. Have you been to
I've been to a
hotels?
lot of nice hotels.
Drew, your privilege is showing.
Hello, I need fresh towels. What the hell? These glasses have spots on them.
I said medium rare for my steak.
My paper
my
isn't
God.
ready. Well, I just mean like, but you know, at first it's like, if
I
you
would
don't
love
have
to
a house,
have a hotel.
well, yeah, but you need more than 15 grand.
I know.
You know what I mean? But you can get a couple nights at the Motel 6 with 15 grand. You know, put people in.
That's a lot of.
I know, but then when that
Nice.
money's gone, we're kind of screwed
But I
because
just
we
mean-
don't have the place.
Yeah, I was just thinking that could like prove the concept of the doors opening, and then from there get a grant to move them out. But maybe that's a bad idea, you know. So
Why don't we use your house?
hey,
Down here, it looks pretty cool. You can put a bunch of bunk
Yeah,
beds down
bunk
here,
beds.
yeah, we could do it, but I'm gonna charge you 15 grand a month. And you got a deal though. You got a house. You can go. So no, but I mean, there's definitely different places to do it. I just sometimes I feel like sometimes when you have a project like you guys are talking about, it feels like where do we start? And it's such a big bite, and it'll be hard to get to the point where it's all completed and ready. And so sometimes if you just scale down, right, the initial launch, like then maybe you incrementally step things up. Like I had a friend who wanted to do same kind of thing. It was like a transitional center for people who were getting out of rehab. And instead of just going right back into their normal lives, they would come to this place. And it's very similar to what you guys are doing. And he had this huge business plan. And it was really cool, but it was like, yeah, you need like $4 million to do this. Why don't you, instead of having to buy the property and do all these things, start at a smaller scale to get it going? And then from there, you know, like even if you're only helping 5 people, right? But that's a start to prove the concept. So rather than having to get a store and all these, it's like, okay, maybe you just get a store that has like a small 2-bedroom place in the back, and that can be the start.
Yeah.
And then if you have more people that need help and the store's making money, well, maybe you put them in a hotel, or even a mobile home in a park where you're renting out the mobile home, right? You know what I mean? There's lots of different things that you could do until you start to get the ball rolling and then prove the concept and have a few people be like, yeah, it helped me and get it going. You know what I mean? So just thoughts like that was what I was kind of thinking with the hotel thing, of just like, just get it going, right? Because sometimes it feels like, oh, we got to get all these pieces together before we can get started.
Yeah.
So it's a great idea, though, I think. So, Brooke, what's your role in this? You're like the silent support over there.
I am. I'm moral support.
Yeah,
That's what I am. I know.
So, what's your story? Tell us a little bit about you.
Tell you about me. I am a recovering addict.
Okay.
I have done some work in nonprofit, not too much. I don't have a lot of, experience with the justice involved people, except for, friends and such. But I am very passionate about this cause as well.
Yeah.
And I've really been looking for some direction in my life. And so I'm like, yes, let's put all of my effort into this to get it going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm...
Are you going to be a board member, or what's your role?
I am
gonna
a
be?
board member.
You are a board member.
The treasurer, actually.
Awesome.
I have a background in accounting, bookkeeping, stuff like that. So that's basically my part in it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Silent. I'm like, she has all the details and all this and that about all of the things. I'm just super excited to be doing this with her.
Well, every project needs a Brooke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In the
Like,
background, doing
you
all the
need-
paperwork and this and that. That's the kind of stuff that I do.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you bounce ideas off of each other and just like,
All the
oh,
time.
get this. And you got to have somebody to kind of work through
Mm-hmm.
ideas and talk to and stuff. So your role is very important.
Well, we did go all over the place too and talk to people. And the more we talk to people, the more doors keep opening up. Just like
Yeah.
talking to you and you're like, oh, I'm a realtor. Oh, we went to these, a couple thrift shops today and they're like, oh, here's this idea, here's that idea. So it's just like
Doesn't
more
that
and
feel
more
like,
pieces.
doesn't that feel like some sort of a higher power kind of saying you're on the right direction?
The universe. The universe
You
is
know?
like, this is
For sure.
exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Is
Which
there-
is excellent.
And I would imagine there's other places like this that exist in bigger cities and towns that you could basically copy the model of, or at least take from them what's working. Is that,
Yeah, the Homeboy Industries and Other Side Academy.
yeah. So is that basically it? Is this kind of a fairly common thing, or is this up and coming?
It's kind of up and coming.
Yeah.
It's a lot more known now than it was before. I know that there's one up in Oregon. There might be a lot more now, but when I was researching it, there wasn't that many back when I was in school.
Did you have to do a paper on this or something like that? Was this like your,
Yeah, I did a 29-page paper. Yeah.
on this idea?
It was the difference between incarceration and rehabilitation. And so there was a huge focus on reentry, but it talked a lot about what people are going through when they're on the inside. You know, there's a lot of people who it's like a warlike, atmosphere.
Yeah.
Their brains
Cortisol
change.
levels
The
are huge and-
amygdala in their brain actually changes, just like people who are at war.
Wow.
They get PTSD. They have to see and be around a lot of hard stuff. And then they're like, you get out and you need to hurry up. You need to get your life together.
Yeah.
You better go get a job. You better go get a house. You better go do all of this right now or you're going back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also
That's a
prison
tough
is big business. Prison is big business.
It
You know,
definitely is.
like they make a lot of money locking people up, and that's obvious in how many people are locked up in our country,
Yeah.
right? And it's like if they're, what do you call it? If you
If
get,
they reoffend.
yeah, or there's money in the reoffending over and over, and if you guys are fixing
Yeah.
the people, then they don't come back, then we lose money. It's kind of like with the pharmaceutical industry, like if there's no money in the cure, so people just living with sickness is better than us making sure they never have to come back and see their doctor again. Kind of seems like the same kind of thing. But I think we talk about homelessness a lot on here, and I not to parallel the two, other than it seems like the real solution for some of these big plagues in our society of homelessness or experiencing
Justice involved.
justice involved people, is like, it is the fact that it's this vicious cycle, and there's always a response that seems to be a hammer, but there's nobody out there actually helping people make sure like they're okay and that they help them out of the situation. They reach out to them and let them know what's available to them to help them get out of the situation, because a lot of times people don't know they even have certain options that are available. And it just becomes this whole thing where we feel like society just sometimes just doesn't function, and it's just like all these people caught in the trap.
Well, and usually they just get out and they're like, here, go to this place, that place, and this place and do it all yourself. So we're trying to bring it to here. You guys come here and we can help you do this, that, and this, and kind of guide you before you even just get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that stuff
Yeah.
is so overwhelming, especially when you've been inside for so long and now you have to run to this side of town, this side of town, this side of town. And it's
Just
a lot.
just what you're saying. Like they don't even give people an ID when they get out. It just seems like that just seems like the biggest fuck you to me, because it's like, what are you supposed to do when you go and give somebody your prison ID? Like you're gonna,
It's hard. So prison does help with IDs more, and the jail is not so able to. One time, we were trying to get a girl into rehab that was going to go to Arizona. So they had to shackle her up and take her down to the DMV so she can actually get an ID at the DMV.
she's going through in shackles
Yes.
in a jumpsuit.
Yes.
I bet that felt great.
Yeah.
And then they're like A B R X.
All like this.
Yeah,
all
guard, can
shackled.
you hold her eye, please?
Okay, other side.
Dude. How humiliating is that too, though,
Totally.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
her first introduction into society is in shackles trying to get an ID.
Well, and I think in jail in
Sucks.
general, it got to be a humiliating experience.
Right,
You
but
know?
to be paraded at the DMV in your orange jumpsuit and handcuffs.
Yeah, no gracias.
I don't even like going to the DMV as a free person. You know?
in my pajamas.
Well, it seems like there's a huge need, especially in this area, for that. We were talking the other day too about how people, this is the county jail and they come from all over the county, but they get released here. And not a lot of people have transportation back to where, either to the coast or Leggett or
They do give bus
Laytonville.
tickets.
Where's the bus? There's a bus?
Yeah.
Is there still Greyhound at Rayleigh's?
No, it's not Greyhound, but they give the one that goes to Fort Bragg and Willits, but they don't have one that goes to Covelo up that area, so they just get dropped off in Willits and they have to hitchhike the rest of the way.
So even if you have a home, it might be hard getting to. And
Yeah.
then you're in Covelo with what kind of services?
Exactly.
Or then you're in Willits with, it seems frustrating.
Well, Godspeed. I hope it all comes together here. You got some work to do, huh?
Oh, sure.
So how do you feel about it? You feel like you're going to pull it off?
I do.
Yeah. You determined?
You're on a mission.
I am.
That's great. So so the immediate next step then is what? Raise funds.
Exactly.
So do you have a GoFundMe going?
No.
Well, what the heck are you doing over there?
Well, we don't have it going yet. She was thinking of maybe a different.
We're trying to do a website first. And so then you can click on a link. Sometimes people with GoFundMe, I don't know. I get a little weird about GoFundMe. I mean, we can always make one.
Why?
I don't
Because
know.
they take a percentage.
It's getting played out.
Because they take a percentage. I just don't even really know where those funds go. I just get very, I don't know. I'd rather
Distrusting.
donate straight. Yeah, I'd rather donate straight to somebody.
Sure,
if that's
but
the case.
you know, like we're saying, like, you know, it's better to get it going now than wait for it to be perfect. Right?
True.
So if people want to give you money right now, how do they do it?
Write a check.
To
Give me some
who?
cash.
To Brooke?
No,
Yeah,
to,
Drew.
To Revival Reentry.
Drew Nickel will take a check too. You know,
To
9% of
Revival
every check
Reentry.
written to me will go straight to these guys.
Stop, dude.
Okay.
Revival Reentry. That's your 501c3 nonprofit.
Yes.
So you can take money
Yes.
through that. Okay.
There you
so
go.
people can write you a check.
So how do they get in touch with you? All right. Listen, you guys can hire me for a little bit.
What was our phone number? We have a phone number, dude.
Yeah. But here's why: because people are going to hear this and they're going to want to get involved and they're going to want to help you guys, and we got to be able to figure out where they can go. Do you have an Instagram?
Yeah. No. I don't even use Instagram. I don't know how to use Instagram, but I have somebody who's working on all of that stuff for us.
Okay.
Social media, the websites, all of that. That's what he does.
Give them your phone number, though.
You have
So
a-
they can
I
call
know,
you.
but this is like everybody.
Oh, got it. Well,
I mean,
Yeah, you don't want
I
to give your
mean-
phone number out to the
You up,
world.
dude.
You're going to have people calling you just to
What is it going to be? Do you know your website name or anything like that?
Revival Reentry.
yeah, revivalreentry.org.
Yeah.
Revivalreentry.org. Okay. 'Cause some people don't listen to it right away. Some people may be catching this 3 weeks from
Sure,
now.
of course. Yeah, I mean, I'd go get a GoFundMe. You know what I mean? I just think that's the easiest thing to do.
That's
Start-
it.
Get some money coming in, because you can run that out there. You know, we can put it on our social media, and you know, people. You might wake up in the morning with $5,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it's your guys' thing. Do it how you want to approach it.
Another thing that would be really cool is a video of you guys like succinctly talking, and maybe we can clip this up or something like that, or Joseph, our buddy here, could make something for you to where you get the word out, like about what you're trying to do, the fundraising that you're trying to do, directing people to a specific place, getting media, you know. I don't know if the Ukiah Daily Urinal is still a thing, or if it's
No, not when you say it. Call them that.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. But, you know, some publications, things like that to write, you
Nevaeh
know.
Travis's grandma works for that one and one in Santa Rosa. I think it's the Press Democrat. So she said she was gonna try to talk with her and getting us in there. We probably should have met with you in a month from now.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, we have all these things in the works, and they're almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, that's okay. I like talking about the
Yeah.
idea. I think people, any sort of talk about the idea, I think will be helpful anyways.
Yeah.
You know, and then you guys can come back on once you have a date or have a something, or just let us know and we'll plug it on the show or whatever. Like,
cool.
we want to help you out. I think it's a great idea. I worked for a short period of time at the Boys and Girls Club through their program in juvenile hall, and they had workers that would make relationships with the kids while they were in the hall and then help them for up to 6 months after they got out. And their recidivism rates were like, the program worked like tremendously.
Wow.
Because they had basically like a caseworker attached to them. They went to court with them. They prepared them for court. They, helped them after court, got them ready for their release date, had a plan of their release date. Where are you going to live? What do you need? A driver's license, all these basic things, a job. What are your goals? All this stuff. And for up to 6 months, helped them with all of that stuff. Get back into school, get your GED, like all of those things.
It's kind of like the same thing, having that support after you get out.
Exactly. Because, you drop somebody off after this traumatic experience of however long they've been in there, and they have the PTSD, or they just haven't been in society for that long. Like, have you ever camped in the woods for a while and came back to society? You get kind of shell shocked anyways, right? Like, so
Yeah, just
imagine being in jail, like with tigers and bears around every corner. And then you come back and you're supposed to do all of these things immediately right away. And like, you're freaking out probably, and when you freak out, you go back to your default, what and the fight or flight and survival no matter what. Right. So it makes sense that a lot of people continue that cycle, and not having enough support. Like, that's probably one of the reasons they started getting in trouble in the first place. Right. So to provide them with those resources, to provide them with that like sort of security, and caring people that like are very passionate about them not going back into the system, I think would mean a whole lot to a bunch of people.
I agree.
As a kids or adults. I think some of the adults coming out are going to be like, wow, these people really care about us as well.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking like, as a kid, I wasn't really cared for. And so that would have really helped me, even though I didn't go to juvenile hall. So
Right.
a lot of kids that do go to juvenile hall don't have that support and love and all of that at home. And a lot of the adults that go to prison don't have it either. So
Right.
I think that's going to make a big difference for them as well.
Yeah. What about, so you're not only taking people that are getting out of jail, you're also taking people that are getting out of rehab? Is that correct too?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's what we want. I know that Ford Street is opening a big SLE, so they're going to be able to put their people in that SLE. But we really want to help people who are getting out of rehabs too. A lot of people, they go to rehab and they're like in this safe little bubble, and they're afraid to get out. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I have to make all these decisions for myself now. I got to make sure that I'm around the right people and doing the right things. And then they have to get out and they are going to try to get a job or whatever it is. And it's scary, So if we get to be that next step and then help them integrate back into society from being in rehab, they're just steps ahead.
And once you guys are up and running, you'll have all of those avenues of support plugged in, right? So you can just take a person, and these are the, ways to get you the things that you need. And like, it makes a lot of sense to be able to provide people with that. Wow. What a cool idea. I really hope it works out.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's going to work out.
Yeah.
We will make it
I can't
work
wait to
out.
see it when it works out. That's what I meant to say.
There you go.
Yeah, you guys, I think you're on the right track. You just got to take it one step at a time. And what's the next and most important thing that you guys got to do, and get organized and talk to people that are doing what you want to do. Maybe not exactly, but when we get off here, I can think of a couple people you should talk to that have been in your shoes before and have centers open now. And I think that what you'll find is you can do fundraisers, you can do a lot of different things, but you can also get people who will just identify with the cause that you have, and donate or give you some money, or even buy into the organization. You know what I mean? Maybe you can find a way to even make it I mean, it's non-profitable, but to people that are contributing members, find ways to, have it go back to them in certain ways, right? Through the store, or through whatever it is. I mean, there's a lot of cool creative things that you can do. So I'll connect you with some of those people. And so you're the visionary, I can tell, and now you're operations, right? So you gotta put it all together here and make it happen, right?
She has all the ideas, and I'm all like, let's bring it down to earth, and
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, let's make the list. What are we doing next? What are we doing next? So
that's
awesome.
great. That's cool.
Yeah. There's also like really cool ways to tier sponsorships too. Like if you wanted people to like donate, you could make like some sort of a wall that's going to go on to the SLE, and the very top spot is your, $10,000 donor. And then these spots down here are for your $5,000 donor or whatever, and like get people excited about just giving you money because they believe in it, but also like you're going to be our founders, right? Like it's a lot of really good ways to sell that.
Yeah. It would be like, let's put together a list of wealthy ex-cons. Like literally, you know what I mean? Go to ChatGPT.
Wes Watson.
I mean, hey, you never know.
You know Wes?
For
Danny
sure.
Trejo.
That was
Jelly
my thought.
roll.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And have them, talk to people about being involved. There's things they can do besides give money, or if money's, a little to them is a lot to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get creative with it, because there's a lot of people who have been in that situation and are doing well in life, right? So, a lot of that aren't, but they're out there. So,
Yeah.
what else? Anything else you guys want to put out to the world here? Anything you want the people to know?
So you're going to think I'm crazy. I'm opening up another business.
Okay.
It's more of a family business.
This one's not her passion, so
I'm just doing the footwork for this one, and then my family is going to take it over. It's transportation. It's called Revival Transportation. Our main focus is wanting to help people get out of the jail and get to rehab. There was a huge barrier with that when I was helping people get out. So we are approved through Medi-Cal, and now we're waiting on our partnership contract. So we're almost there. So there's a gap in that too. So when people are getting out, they can go to court, say 5 months prior, right? And they're saying, okay, you're sentenced to do 2 months in jail, and then you'll do the rest of your 90 days in rehab. So you're going to get out in 90 days. So in those court minutes, 5 months prior, they're going to need to say you're going to be released to this person on this date at this specific time to go to this specific place. And so those people have to show up, they have to show their ID, and they're taking them to this place, and they have to know that they are giving them to somebody trustworthy who's taking them to the place that they're supposed to go. Well, that was really hard to navigate working in the jail as a discharge planner. So sometimes we had to go get court minutes changed. We had to talk to the public defenders. Probation was a lot easier to work with. They have an authorization to release. So they have to send that over to the jail. And there's also another piece, is the jail's not going to start releasing people until that person gets there. And when they start that release process, it could be up to 2 hours before that person gets out. And so I know CalAIM is really working on filling these gaps for these people, because a lot of these people are getting out and they're going to a partnership paid drug rehab, but how are they going to get there? And so we were having community members, volunteering. McHaven was amazing. They would come over there, they would pick people up, and they would take them.
I did this for Ed one time. I took a guy that got right out of jail, and I drove him straight to the rehab in Lytton Springs.
Did you guys stop for beers?
Whoa, dude. No, we didn't. I don't know why I was the guy that they chose to do that.
Yeah,
'cause
back
I
then.
was drinking back then, but I remember that's so crazy. I haven't remembered that for a long time. And he worked at McHaven back then.
Oh, nice.
But yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Anyways, so sorry.
So we're going to be taking other rides too, not just those, but that's what we want to specialize in.
Yeah.
But we're going to be taking other.
So you contract
partnership.
with them, and they say, hey, you need to pick up this person at this time, drop them
Yeah.
off here, and you're reliable, and you're there, and
So they would have to call the partnership hotline, and then they schedule the rides.
Cool.
So you got to get a certain amount of money to open the doors, but then once you do, can you get some of this Gavin Newsom money that he's spreading around? Can you get?
I mean, that's the
can you
hope.
can you get grants? And does Homeboy Industries, do they get money from people from the state, right? Counties? Is there money out there for this?
I don't know what Homeboy
It's got to be some
Industries
bureaucrat whose budget we can cut and get you some of that cheese,
Let's do it.
right?
Yeah. We need cheese.
We do.
No, we'll totally be able to get grants once we have the house and the beds and everything set up.
And
The
so,
money is out there.
Yeah.
so the grants
There's
That-
state and federal grants.
that you're going to get per person to run the place.
There's all kinds of different ones.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I got-
Medi-Cal pays a lot for enhanced care management. So, I mean, I don't know about a lot, but I know that they're really working on this population of people. They
Yeah.
created enhanced care management. CalAIM is supposed to be all up and running by 2026, and that is supposed to help the homeless, mental health, and justice involved populations, because those are the biggest gaps in the community, is getting them the help they need. So some things that they were doing in the jail to get that up and running is getting them Medi-Cal before they got out of jail. So they're already working on having Medi-Cal, so by the time they get out, they're in Medi-Cal. And social services was amazing at coming in and hooking people up with that. They were doing applications over the phone. So they're doing a lot of stuff to try to
And
help.
if they have that, they can go right into your program,
Yep.
right?
And can you get some Medi-Cal money to fund?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
We need the doors open.
Right.
And then
So-
that's going to be,
So that's why. There's
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
grand.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you could go around and get people to basically give you the $5,000 and show them a business plan that once the doors are opened and people you get Medi-Cal money coming in for the beds, the profit that you'll turn from that and then your store and all that will go back to them to give them back their money and then pay them a return on their investment. And that'll still make you a nonprofit because you have the money going through, and then of course you guys got to pay yourselves to run the nonprofit, of course, right? All that, but and I just know people who have done that before. They have a place where
Are you talking about loans? Or are you talking about?
no, I'm talking about, can you get Medi-Cal money or any kind of state money to come to you guys in order to have people there? If the answer is yes, then that money that you get from that, right, becomes the income for the nonprofit, right? That's how you're going to make money because you need money
Yes.
to operate. Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So once you have that, you're going to pay yourselves a salary, right? You're going to have rent and food. And depending on how many people you're housing, you might have leftover money after that, right? So as a nonprofit, that leftover money has to go somewhere. That could go back to the people that gave you an initial $15,000 loan to pay them back, plus interest or money or things like that. So rather than having to raise it all, you could go out and privately fund what you need right away by showing people a path of how they'll get their money back plus some when you reach a certain point.
We are allowed to keep some money, so we have reserves too. So
course.
it's like, I think it'll be a while till we make enough money that we can just be like, here you
yeah.
go. Then we have to.
We would have to like promise, I mean, if we were to do that, we can pay you back, we could start paying back in like 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, well, I think
I mean, we could. Just most people usually will just want to donate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
for sure.
And you don't have much to gather.
No.
15 grand isn't much to fundraise
Well, for each one, but
for each one. 30 grand. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right on.
Well, cool. Thanks for sharing your vision.
yeah. Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah.
Nice to have you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, wish
We'll
you
help
guys
in
the-
any way we can.
Yeah, let us know.
Awesome. Okay.
Good work.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next round.